Howdy folks, Jambareeqi here. In the last episode of Puppet Panic, I reviewed the Neverending Story 2. It wasn't the worst sequel I'd ever seen, it was just cheap and stupid. But apparently, the Neverending Story 3 is really bad. Although people can exaggerate, so I'm going to be optimistic. I've bought myself a copy of the film, so let's pop it into the DVD player and give it a watch. It's literally just a pile of shit! Henson, did you take a poop in my DVD case again?
Which one?
The Neverending Story 3.
Nope, not that one.
So you're telling me that this is the movie? I underestimated the hell I'm going to be walking into, didn't I? In the Neverending Story 3, Bastian has just moved in with his new stepmother and stepsister, so he's trying to adapt to having an extended family. On his first day of a new school, Bastian gets into trouble with some bullies called the Nasties, but while running away from them, he rediscovers the Neverending Story and returns to Fantasia. However, while he's away, the Nasties find the Neverending Story book. They vow to ruin Bastian's life and his beloved fantasy world. So Bastian goes back to Earth with a few Fantasians to retrieve the book from the Nasties and save Fantasia. Like I said, the second Neverending Story's only crime was being dumb and cheap, but this second sequel commits so many cinematic felonies that it should be locked up for life. The Neverending Story 3 takes the first movie, shoots it 3 times, chops it in half, vomits on it, and dresses it up with a pair of humiliating Groucho Marx spectacles. There's taking artistic license, and then there's being downright disrespectful. And now they're stabbing the first film with used syringes. Well done, Neverending Story 3. You gave a childhood favourite AIDS. I hope you're happy. Instead of giving us another imaginative, dark fantasy adventure, this sequel goes for a more comedic, silly and cliché route. It drops the serious tone and throws out the fantastical wonder in favour of over-the-top acting, desperate comedy and pop culture references.
Bastian's heart is strong, but he's not exactly Arnold Schwarzenegger in the muscle department, is he?
No.
Shut up.
That is bad. Even I cringed.
This sequel is basically attempting to reshape a refreshingly strange fantasy movie into something more traditionally Hollywood. The end result is very hard to stomach. There are scenes in this film that are so bad that they make Where the Dead Go to Die feel like a comfortable, relaxing sitting. So why is there a sudden change of mood and tone? Well, it's important to know that this sequel was handled by Miramax, a company founded by the Weinstein brothers, who are renowned for taking foreign or independent films and shoddily editing them into more marketable features. We could have had a Neverending Story sequel that explored more Fantasia and expanded its mythos, but nope, Miramax wanted to go the tired old route of having fantasy creatures stuck in our world and being confused by Earth culture. With Bastian trying to hide them, I hope that nobody finds them, I am sick to death of these kinds of movies, because it's the same contrived and forced joke all the way through. Because of the movie's light-hearted and comedic tone, everything is played like a pantomime. This means that the film is always trying to find excuses to make characters talk incessantly or perform slapstick. It gets really grating watching such dignified characters being reduced to walking punchlines and goofy sound effects. Now, you may be thinking that perhaps the whole new family subplot for Bastian makes up for this, but it really doesn't. Bastian's new stepmom is a pushover, who is so terrified of being disliked by a new stepson that she avoids being a responsible parent altogether. While his new stepsister is an insufferable little brat who guilts the audience into feeling sorry for her with a soppy backstory. I don't care about Bastian getting along with his new family because there's nothing redeemable about them. Oh, and it baffles me that Bastian never tells his dad about his new quest to save Fantasia, even though his father found out about Fantasia in the second film. What's the point of hiding what's going on from him? Oh wait, so we can have more silly misunderstandings? Bastian's dad could have helped on the quest, which would have made for an interesting family bonding plot. Not to mention, beloved characters from the first film are flushed down the drain in terms of development and portrayal. The Rockbiter now has a family and his life is framed like a bloody cheesy sitcom. Falcor is a dopey voiced clown with more silly dog attributes than cool dragon features. The childlike Empress has been aged up for some reason and turned into a stereotypical princess. Plus, Enkiwook the astronomer and his new age wife spend the whole movie stuck in a box needing to go to the toilet. Every character change is embarrassing to witness. Oh, and then we have the Nasties, a huge downgrade from previous villains in this franchise. They're basically generic high school bullies who've been stuck in the 12th grade for too long. Fantasia is a world full of unlimited possibilities, where you can conjure up your worst nightmares. Monsters, trolls, goblins, demons, dragons, anything! So why jump off the imagination train and pick a bunch of failed high school graduates as the antagonists? The only positive thing about the Nasties has to be the casting of Jack Black as the Nasty leader. Black was a huge Neverending Story fan at the time and signed on to this project immediately. He embraces every single moment he has on screen with complete and utter joy. Black later regret being part of the film, but in all honesty, he's the best thing about it because he's so entertaining to watch. So, what about the puppetry, the focus of this review series? Well, the creature effects were done by Jim Henson's workshop, and the puppets they provide are vastly different to the ones used in the previous films. They're much more Muppety and goofy, which certainly suits the comedic direction that the sequel is taking, but it goes completely against the heart and soul of the original's hard work. The original film's puppets were beautiful, detailed, and impressive. They were stunning and majestic works of art. So it's quite the step back to turn them into more simplistic looking characters. But my major problem is with the actual puppetry. The puppets' acting is atrocious, physically and vocally. The characters' personalities are insanely obnoxious, so the puppeteers feel the need to make their puppets constantly move like giddy children high on E-numbers. I know that the suit performers have to exaggerate themselves sometimes to make their movements more readable, but these puppeteers go a tad overboard with their characters. While the puppets' voices sound so bad. It's like they just grabbed a bunch of strangers off the street, put them in a microphone booth, and told them to do voices for them without even showing them the first film.
Not with me. I just came from there. Everyone's acting crazy there too.
What about the Ivory Tower? Did the Nasty reach there too?
Yes, they did.
And the Empress?
Well, I heard she escaped to the Wandering Mountains.
That's where we need to go.
And what's wrong with my mudcakes?
Well, now that you mention it, after 2,000 years of marriage, they still taste like hockey pucks.
Hockey pucks!
Good game. I have to go to school now, okay?
Me come too, Buster.
Right, like I don't have enough problems there already. Now you look out that window. When you see the car leave, you go down to where I took your seat, and you wait for me until I get back.
Kiss.
To conclude, I think that the Neverending Story 3 is a shameful, insulting, and embarrassing sequel. Sure, maybe very small children will find the silly antics of the characters to be funny, but older audiences and faithful fans of the first film are going to be really pissed off with this one. It has no creativity, no imagination, no respect for the audience, no care, no effort, nothing. It can go fuck itself and die in a fire. I've been Jambareeqi and I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, then please consider supporting me on my Patreon. With enough sponsors on my Patreon, I could start doing episodes of Puppet Panic every single week. How awesome would that be? For the next episode of Puppet Panic, can I please watch something more palatable? It doesn't have to be a groundbreaker, it doesn't have to be amazing, it just needs to be watchable. That'll do. Cheerio, folks.